Everybody, I'm Rod the Ranger. Welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to be looking at my trip to Uganda and Rwanda to go gorilla trekking and all that sort of stuff. Going to have a look at how I got there, what I did there, all of that. Do enjoy. See you later. So as always, going down to the airport with the Smit Shuttle, local transfer company. Extremely good services, brilliant stuff that they do for me, taking me down every time. We go from my house, which is in a town called Mokopane, straight down the N1 highway all the way to the airport, well, to the R21. Lots of nice scenery as we go along. This particular mountain that we're about to pass here, the Kranskop Mountain or Modimolle Mountain. Lots of legends about this mountain, one of which is if the person goes up the mountain, they'll never come down again. But I've been up there and I've come down again, so I'm alright. So there's a fair amount of traffic on the highway, but eventually getting into close to Pretoria, into the airport, and you can see the planes there as we go in. Obviously we weren't driving this fast, it's all sped up. So once into the airport, sit in the aircraft brewery, nice craft beer there, and then going into the check-in and going with Kenya Airways this time. There's the plane. Nice big 787, nice plane that one. And you can see on the inside lots of infotainment, games and movies and so on. Charging port for your phone, you can do that, and a fair amount of legroom, which is not too bad. And there we go, the view outside, and we're up in the air. All the way, it's about a 4-hour flight from Johannesburg to Nairobi, which is the first stop off, and then onto the next plane, which you can see out the window there, as we go through into the check-in room for the flight to Kigali. This was on a slightly smaller plane, but again, infotainment, charging space, and again, not too bad leg room. I am a very tall person. Both these flights had no one next to me, so there was room to stretch out anyway, which is nice. So arriving in Kigali, grab the bags. Everything's MTN branded here. Didn't realise MTN had quite the reach that they do, but they do. Outside the airport, I arrived here, must have been around 2 o'clock in the morning, and my pickup for the tour was only 7. So this little coffee shop here is where I spent the next few hours. Nice Wi-Fi, nice people, nice staff, and very good coffee obviously, and it kept me going until such time as the sun came up and it was time to go. And it was a very, very beautiful sunrise. Look at that. So this was the vehicle I'll be spending the next few days in, and you can just see inside there the driver. His name's Apollo, lovely chap. And then driving from the airport through Kigali city. Not particularly busy, and it's a very, very clean city. In fact, they spend the last Saturday of every month cleaning up the city. All the citizens get out to clean up, which is great. Lots of these little motorbike taxis. Less of the big sort of taxis you'd expect to see in other African countries. And then once out of the city, up towards the border through some stunning scenery, lots of hills, lots of river lines. Now it was once a very, very swampy area at the bottom, but you can see there's been planted a lot of eucalyptus trees, which drain the swamps and enable people to plant a lot of rice plantations, bananas you can see there. And then through we get closer to the actual border post, which is here. This can be quite busy at times. A lot of queuing, standing in the sun, so you have to be prepared for that. You don't just show your passport in the car, you have to get out and go to the passport office and wait, and then get your passport stamped, then go. And you actually have to walk through to the other side. You don't get back in the car and drive through, that goes through a separate gate. And then once you've got everything stamped on the other side again, out into Uganda, driving towards Kigali city, or not city, it's a small town, but again, still the same sort of stunning, beautiful scenery. There's still a lot of eucalyptus trees. And then into Kigali town, not a particularly big or busy town, but it is the main sort of tourist spot for the gorilla trekking tours. This is the main access town to those areas. So a lot of tourist transfer vehicles. And then this little coffee shop is where we stopped for lunch, Cafe Barista. It's also where I realized that nobody takes cards when you're paying for something, so it's a good idea to go and get some cash before you go anywhere. After lunch, on the way again into one of these terrific dirt roads that you get on the way to the game reserves into Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, where the gorillas are. And then the overnight accommodation, Broadbill Forest Lodge. See, tented accommodation, and then the main area, the dining area and lounge area, a little fire to one side, comfy lounging, and see the setup for dinner. And it's a lodge that doesn't have any power except for a solar panel that goes up, so that's where you charge your stuff there. Nice view from the top of the dining deck, and everything you can see there, everything's gorilla themed because it's the gorilla area. And then obligatory beer for dinner. Nile is the local Ugandan beer. Next morning we're off up to the park headquarters, where you get your briefing and everything. Let's have a quick look at this. Is the map of the area where the gorillas are, map of the reserve itself. You see the different family groups there, different home ranges on there. It's quite a big area, about half the world's mountain gorilla population. Here's the main gorilla families that you're likely to go and see. Identification patterns, basically they're identified by their nose patterns. And this Mukiza group, it's a group that we went to trek on.
And that one can make them to move either very close to us or very deep in the forest. All these gorillas live in a home range of around 10 to 15 square kilometers.
It's quite a long briefing, about 25 minutes of briefing. I didn't want to put it all in, just a brief idea of what goes on. And then this is the forest that we're about to walk through. Doesn't look too bad from this angle, but once you see, we have to go all the way up to the top of this mountain, very narrow little pathways around the edges. You don't want to slip, so everybody's got sticks to help them keep their balance. Look at that beautiful forested mountain areas. Through, back down to the bottom of the valley, lots of ups and downs. You've got to be quite fit for this. I don't think I was fit enough. When you're on the way to the gorillas, it's fine. You get this adrenaline rush, and then you see them, a little baby like this playing. Great, great stuff. You get about an hour with the gorillas, and then the trek back into the car, and then to your overnight accommodation. This is where we stayed, the Gorilla Packers, Lake Bonyonyi View Lodge. Very, very nice. Look at that, look at the view out of the windows there. The balcony looking over the lake. Stunning stuff. Again, everything is gorilla themed in the area. Next morning we went on a little boat trip on the lake, going through and looking around, and we went to visit the pygmy people. this little island here we're looking at, Punishment Island, where another one of the local tribes used to leave their pregnant unmarried women as punishment. And then once back to the lodge, back in the car, and transfer through to Queen Elizabeth National Park. Quite a long drive, about a 4-hour drive. Lots of scenery again, small towns as we're going through. So it's quite a busy country. Getting lots of tea plantations, banana plantations on the way. So they're busy doing road works here, trying to improve the road. It is quite heavily potholed, so obviously not going as fast as the sped up footage is showing here. And then there's the view into the national park and the entrance gate. Here we go, and this was the lodge we stayed at here, Tembo Safari Lodge, right on the Kazinga Channel. Beautiful view of the river, hippos and everything down there. And then a quick afternoon game drive. Baboons. Elephants along the river. Beautiful sunsets and buffalo in the distance. Now, I've done the safari highlights already, that's up already. You can have a more in-depth look at all the animals that we saw during this little safari area. Next morning, beautiful sunrise over the lake, and then another game drive, Ugandan cob, related to the waterbuck. More buffaloes. And then the famous tree climbing lions of the Queen Elizabeth National Park. These aren't the Ashasha group, they go up in the fig trees. These ones actually the only pride that go up into those euphorbia cactus type trees. And then heading back through some more buffalo and a random hippo before heading back to the lodge for a lunch break. This is a marabou stork, not the world's prettiest bird. Lots of them hanging around the area where we're eating. And then for the afternoon, onto a boat on the channel, game viewing from the actual boat. Something different. Lots of hippos, lots of buffaloes resting on the banks. Very worthwhile to do this. Alfred, Edward. Valley. This is one of the fishing villages. It's a few days fish. A lot of bird life. Some cormorants and storks. And then after the boat rides, look at the Katwe craters, old volcanic craters, and then back to the lodge for dinner. Next morning, early wake up and out. Beautiful sunrise over the channel again, and now the long drive all the way back to Kigali through all that stunning landscape of Uganda, through the little villages and towns again, through all the tea and banana and eucalyptus plantations. Back to Kigali again. And still not too busy of a town, even on a weekday. Past the gorillas on the turning circle and then back towards the border post. You'll notice that between the border posts we actually changed sides of the road. Uganda drives on the left, Rwanda drives on the right hand side. There we go. And then heading back through the countryside down towards Kigali city. And then through the city, zigzagging through, trying to get a shortcut to the airport through the traffic. And there we go. Coming into the airport, you have to get out and go through the scanning systems and then into the airport itself. Quick flight, Kigali to Nairobi again. Same sort of small plane as last time. Slightly busier this flight back than the flight in was. And then again a big 787 to go back to Johannesburg in from Nairobi. This one not so busy, so whole row to myself again. And this was a flight during the day, so lots of things to look at out of the window. Flying out of Nairobi itself. Looking out towards the Nairobi National Park in the distance there. And then flying here over Kohorobasa Lake on the Zambezi in Mozambique, where a lot of South Africa's power comes from. Over Zimbabwe, the border with South Africa, the Limpopo River. Doesn't look to have a lot of water in it this time of the year, it is the dry season. And then finally, looking out over here, mountain ranges and hills around my hometown. Flew directly over my hometown. See the Waterberg range in the top left hand corner there, and my old family farm at the bottom of that mountain range there. And then from there, another 20 minutes or so before landing at Johannesburg. Alright, and then after landing back in the Smit Shuttle back to home, slept most of the way, so there's no footage of that, but it's just the roads anyway, and I think you've seen enough of the roads. Alright, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, subscribe and share, buy a t-shirt. You're on YouTube, you know the drill. Click the notification icon, the bell, the thingamajig. See you next time. You can also follow me on all the social networks with the hashtag #NowFilming for live updates from Safari.